That night, the wound Enkidu had received in his struggle with Humbaba grew worse. He tossed with fever and was filled with dreams. He woke his friend to tell him what he heard and saw. The gods have said that one of us must die, because we killed Humbaba and the Bull of Heaven. Enlil said I must die, for you are two-thirds God and should not die. But Shamash spoke for me and called me innocent, and they all began to argue as if that word touched off a universal rage. I know that they have chosen me. The tears flowed from his eyes. My brother, it is a fever only, said Gilgamesh. Enkidu cursed the gate into Humbaba's forest that had lamed his hand, and cursed the hunter and the prostitute who had led him from his friends, not sensing Gilgamesh's fear at the thought of his own solitude. I can't imagine being left alone. I'm less a man without my friend. Gilgamesh did not let himself believe the gods had chosen one of them to die. The fever reached its height, and like a madman talking to a wall in an asylum, Enkidu cursed the gate as if it were the person he could blame. I would have split you with my axe if I had known that you could wound. Shamash, you call me innocent. I curse your heart for bringing me to suffer this. He thought he heard Shamash arguing that if the prostitute had never come to him, he never would have known his friend, who sat beside him now, trying to find the gesture to reverse the god's decision or relieve a close companion's pain. Gilgamesh, though he was king, had never looked at death before. Enkidu saw in him a helplessness to understand or speak, as if this were the thing the other had to learn and he to teach. But visions from his sickness made him also helpless as a teacher. All he had to give was being weak and rage about the kings and elders and the animals in the underworld that crowded sleep, about the feathers that grew from his arms in the house of dust whose occupants sat in the dark, devoid of light, with clay as food, the fluttering of wings as substitutes for life. The priest and the ecstatic sat there too, their spirits gone, each body like an old recluse, no longer inhabiting its island. Like shells one finds among shore rocks, only the slightest evidence of life survived. Gilgamesh knew his friend was close to death. He tried to recollect aloud their life together, that had been so brief, so empty of gestures they never felt they had to make. Tears filled his eyes as he appealed to Ninsun, his mother, and to the elders, not to explain, but to save his friend, who once had rung among the animals, the wild horses of the range, the panther of the steppe. He had run and drunk with him as if they were his brothers. Just now he went with me into the forest of Humbaba and killed the Bull of Heaven. Everything had life to me, he heard Enkidu murmur. The sky, the storm, the earth, water wandering, the moon and his 3 children, salt, even my hand had life. It's gone. It's gone. I've seen death. A total stranger sees another person's world, or as a freak sees whom the gods created when they were drunk on too much wine, and had a contest to show off the greatness of the harm that they could do, creating a man who had no balls, or a woman without a womb, crippled or deliberately maimed child, or old age itself. Blind eyes, trembling hands, contorted in continual pain. A starving dog too weak to eat. A doe caught in a trap, waiting for help, or death. The contest rules the one who makes the greatest wretchedness wins, for all of these can never fit into the perfect state they made when they were sober. These are the things I've witnessed as a man, and weep for now, for they will have no witness if friends die. I see them, so alone, so helpless. Who will be kind to them? He looked at Gilgamesh and said, "You will be left alone, unable to understand, in a world where nothing lives anymore as you thought it did. Nothing like yourself. Everything like dead clay before the river makes the plants burst out along its beds. Dead and..." He became bitter in his tone again. "Because of her, she made me see things as a man, and a man sees death in things. That is what it is to be a man. You'll know when you have lost the strength to see the way you once did. You'll be alone, and wander looking for that life that's gone, or some eternal life you have to find." He drew closer to his friend's face. "My pain has stopped my eyes. My ears no longer see and hear the same as yours do. Your eyes have changed. You are crying. You never cried before. It's not like you. Why am I to die? You, to wander on alone? Is that the way it is with friends?" Gilgamesh sat, hushed as his friend's eyes stilled. In his silence he reached out to touch the friend whom he had lost.